about it this way. I give you a cassette tape, you put it in a cassette player, and you push the button and the program's playing, and you realize, I don't like the program. And so go up and talk to the tape player. And you start to realize, come on, tape player, change the tape, change the tape. And the tape player's not listening. It just keeps playing, and it keeps playing. And every time you push the button, it's going to play the same tape over and over and over again, no matter how much you yell at it. And the reality is this: the subconscious mind is a tape player. It learned an experience, and when the right set of stimuli come in the environment, it's like pushing the button, it plays the experience just as it has done forever. And the relevance about that is, then when we're having conversations in our head, you know, trying to talk to yourself to get better, you're presumably trying to talk to your subconscious, which is running the show, and then you have to step back and realize there's nobody in the subconscious. It's not a thinking entity, it's a record playback entity. There's nobody there. So I can become aware of all kinds of stuff in my conscious mind. But if it's not programmed into the subconscious mind, I could shoot myself in the foot with the knowledge that I am shooting myself in the foot. I'll never stop, because the shooting in the foot was the subconscious behavior. And the conscious mind, the subconscious mind differ in one sense. The subconscious mind is operating 95% of the day minimum, and probably 99% of the day for most people. And the subconscious mind, as an information processor, 1,000,000 times more powerful than the conscious mind. And so some people say, well, let me do some positive thinking. And I go, okay, well, which mind are you using for positive thinking? Well, the conscious mind. And I say, okay, so on a day-to-day basis, how much of this positive thinking is running your life? And it can't be more than 5% of the day, meaning no matter how much positive you're thinking, 95% of the day you're still operating out of the programs that have been sabotaging you. So the reality is, we must change our understanding about the psychology, the mind, and the subconscious mind. In that we have to take into account the subconscious mind as a device, it's a recording device. And the beautiful part is, you can re-record the programs, that's not the problem. But you cannot re-record the programs by talking to it. You have to essentially push the record button. And the moment you push the record button, you have access to download new tracks. And when you do that, you can write a story for your life that is positive in such a way that 95% of the day you don't even see it, and your behavior is automatically ensuring you a positive outcome, versus the kinds of programs that almost all of us got, which were disempowering and limiting programs about who do we think we are.
Happiness is not a feeling, but a higher nature. If you can feel happy, you can feel unhappy. You already have a great clue to work with to abolish your belief that happiness can come through what you feel. And one reason you want to believe that happiness is a feeling is because you can do certain things to induce feelings of all kinds. And in back of that is a terrible fact, which is this: because you can manipulate people and events, you can cause things to happen by being bad, for example, by being angry. You can cause other people to be as angry as you are, or as depressed as you are. And then you can say, see, I'm a creator. I can cause my own feelings to happen anytime I want, which of course neurosis can always do. But happiness is not a feeling. It is not an internal, fast or slow experience. Happiness is the absence of your belief that happiness is a feeling. Now, the other part of it, since you can't be a pleasant, calm, in-charge person with a flood of feelings, then it's obvious that peace of mind, self-command has to be something else other than that. And what it is a new nature. And what's a new nature? The absence of the old nature. So that's what you have to study. You have to see that imposture called emotionalism, called excitement, called hope. The imposture is all of those. You have to see how you keep yourself in a state of what you call happiness or expecting to be when something happens. You have to know that you're in a wrong state, a negative state, which gives you the familiar false feeling of life. Now let's look at that just a little bit. A false feeling of life is any feeling that you latch onto and call it an identity. I get so mad when he says that. I get so fed up with the routine of my office work down there. I get really excited when I hear about that trip that I can take at a reduced rate around the world. I get so excited when I hear that news. A false feeling of life is the only life, and the false one at that people have. Now, the question is, are you going to recognize, are you going to have the courage to recognize that you are just one of the mob? Yes, you are. One of the gang who's always going to get ahead of someone else and get the feeling from it. You're not different, and this is the point I want to emphasize. You're not different from the person sitting next to you or the neighbor living next to you. You're not really different. And that's very, very sad. It is really sad to be commonplace because you don't have to be. You can have the unique nature which does not depend on feelings. Everybody thinks they're unique when they really have their own special brand of neurosis and sickness. That's not being unique. That's one of the crowd. That's one of the herd. Herd thinking, herd reacting, herd faking. Now the new nature that we're going to talk about does not have to depend on feeling at all. Not the ordinary excitement and emotionalism and spurts of passion that you feel. It has, this is important to remember, your real life doesn't have dependency on feeling. You do as you are now, and it's a false dependency. False, that's just the beginning of how awful it is. It drives you crazy. You always have to have more and more. And I'm going to tell you something you don't know about yourself. You are worried lest you run out of feelings and therefore run out of life. You are afraid. I'm revealing something to you now. You're afraid that something is going to happen that is going to cause you to cease to exist. You're worried that if you don't run out and spend money madly, if you don't have ambitions, if you don't get mad every minute, you're afraid that something is going to slow down, eventually come to a stop, and you're worried that you're not going to be here anymore. I want you to take out of here tonight memory and knowledge of what I just said. Now I have to tell you, you have so much to absorb. Try to get as much as you can. This mad passion for accumulating feelings, experiences, things to think about, to be concerned about. This is really your non-life, non-existence. You have it exactly backward. You do not have real existence. You have only a mechanical, boring flow of re-experiences. All you have is a habitual running around of yourself, of your habitual self. All you have, and now you sense what I'm saying. Don't just hear it, but sense the truth of it. It will help you. All you have is the same moving picture played over and over again. You've seen one of your favorite repetitious movies on television. You know exactly what's going to happen, don't you? Same movie. The same outcome. The hero's going to jump off the cliff and rescue the pretty girl or whatever. You know exactly what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen to you 5 seconds from now and 5 days from now. You know what's going to happen, and you insist that it's going to happen. You're worried that it won't happen. You know the script. You've sat in front of your own movie all your life. You should know what you're going to do, because you always do the same thing. You are, unfortunately, you're incapable of behaving with originality. You sit and watch the movie on television, and you feel bored because there's nothing new. The same way with your life. That's what your boredom is. But here's the worst part. Even boredom becomes a false feeling of life, and you settle for that. The same old dreariness at the home, at the going to work, at the office. Nothing changes, all the same. I know what I'm going to say. I know what they're going to say. I know what I'm going to feel. You have sworn allegiance to your boredom and non-life. Now, I am telling you this because I know you, and I know that you don't know yourself, and I know that you don't understand with a spiritual mind what I just explained to you. I know that you don't know that you have sworn a pact with your old nature, with your feelings masquerading as happiness. I know that you don't know that you have settled down. Now, you have this information. That is not enough. You're not going to change by having the information. Because it's too pleasantly unpleasant for you to doze through your day. When you know the movie and everything that's going to happen, nothing is required of you. You don't have to do any work. You can daydream and night dream. And you can fake and you can pretend. You can imagine yourself with the men, you imagine yourself with a pretty girl. And you girls imagine yourself with a handsome man. Oh, you can take 1,000 excursions in your imagination and in your beliefs. And now is the time for you to break your allegiance to your painful, repetitious movie life. Now is the time for you to know that that is the only thing you are doing. You have turned yourself over to your mechanical self inside, including your feelings, your thoughts. You have turned yourself over, and you never will take the responsibility for seeing that this is why you are an unhappy, pained human being. The reason you are a weakling is because you don't want to go to work. Don't you ask that of me. Go away and let me dream. That you can do. And again, I must tell you, when you exit this world, you will exit in just one of two ways. You slow down in your thinking and think about what I'm going to tell you. You will exit this world one of two ways. The way you are right now, tonight, in this room, or you will exit it with a new nature that you don't now have. See? Everything I say in the talk, everything you react to and with, all your reactions should be centered around you allowing this evening here in this room, allowing the talk and the atmosphere to be an alarm clock to wake you up. You are asleep and you don't know it. And the reason you don't know it is because you argue. You know more than truth itself, and you argue and say, don't tell me I'm asleep. How can a sleeping human being have all the exciting adventures I have? And they're not just imaginary either. I go boating twice a week down there, and I've got some exciting financial plans I'm going to get going. I've got a lot of things to do, and I have a lot of satisfactory, happy memories, and I got a lot of things that I'm going to do in the next 2 weeks. Who said you're going to do a lot of exciting things in the next 2 weeks? Only you did. And when you said that, you hated, you despised the contradictory voice that comes up inside of you and said, you said so, not me. I'm talking about the voice of conscience, which is so deeply buried, I barely can use the word. I'm telling you that your assumptions about your life are murdering you. They're preventing you from having life. But they're sure adding something else to that, which is allowing you to be a weary wanderer. And you are that, aren't you? You know what it means to be a wanderer? You see how many of your friends, they can't stay settled in one house or one town very long. They always have to be moving somewhere. The bum down at Skid Row, wandering from one Salvation Army center to the next. The people are always going somewhere. They can't stay home. I tell you, as you get mentally healthy, spiritually healthy, you'll stay home 10 times as much as you now do. You know the answer to that, don't you? You don't have any place to go. You're home, the wanderer. And the trouble with being a wanderer is that you don't have, think about this, you don't have any interests of your own. You have to go out and find them. Even the shopping becomes an adventure to you. Yes, that shopping list and going down, parking your car, going in there. It gives you something to do. It gives you something to feel. You can always find plenty of feelings. I pointed out earlier, a lot of things to feel about just to go into the supermarket. Maybe see people you don't like, people you think that are your friends, and compare the prices. And wonder whether the lettuce is fresh or not, and why don't they sprinkle a little more water on it every morning? You've always got something to think about. I dare you. I challenge you, I invite you to find a world where you can just be at home with yourself all the time and you don't have to be out shopping or doing anything else. I said, you don't have any interests of your own, and you don't. You know whose interests you have? You know that. Mamas, papas. You belong to that political party because Papa did, or you ignore all parties because Papa did. You've got all interests except the one that could save you.
The subconscious mind runs your behavior and your genetics and your biology over 95% of it every day. That means there's two minds, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is the one connected to your spirit. It's the one that's creative. If I ask you, what would you like from your life? What do you want? The answer comes from the conscious mind. The conscious mind has your wishes and your desires, what you want. That comes from the conscious mind. The subconscious mind is a program like a tape player. It learns behavior, and then you push a button and then it plays the behavior over and over and over again. The primary programs in the subconscious mind we downloaded by watching other people. So the primary programs in our subconscious mind came from our parents, came from our brothers and our sisters, came from our community, our family, and etc. Why is this relevant? Because what you want is in your conscious mind, and the programs of how to respond to life that are in your subconscious mind came from other people. And here's the problem. How come it's so difficult to get what you want when you think you're running your life? The answer is because the new science says you're not running your life. Your subconscious is running your life, and that has beliefs and programs from other people.